Hi, welcome back to The Breakdown. I'm your host, Ziad Kassab, and today my guest is the mayor of the city of Rochester Hill, Mayor Brian Barnett. Mayor Barnett, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Z.
Thanks for being here, man. So listen, the city's doing really, really well. Tell me about, as a mayor so far, what did you feel were some of the key attributes that got the city to be where it's at today?
The city of Rochester Hills is doing great. We've had a really good year. We've won a couple major national awards. Money Magazine and CNN recognized the city as one of the top 10 places to live in the country.
Number one in Michigan.
Number one in Michigan. I know your viewing audience is across the country. There's actually 39,000 places to live in America, and to be number 9 is actually something we're really excited about. We just recently named Michigan's safest city. Which is obviously another big honor. So we've had some really good success, and I'm really proud of our community. We're 75,000 people on the outskirts of Metro Detroit, people working hard and I think enjoying our quality of life.
Awesome, awesome. You know, being mayor has got to be a big responsibility, and I'm sure it's a lot of work, but what is one of your favorite parts about being mayor?
Well, you know, I think the best part about being mayor, I've been mayor for 9 years now. When I became mayor, I was the youngest in the nation of a city over 50,000. People ask me my favorite part. It's that in those 9 years, I've never actually had the same day twice. It's an incredibly diverse job. Our community is vibrant. Lots of things happening. You can think you're going to go one way, something happens in the morning, and you have to react and position yourself and your city in a different, to respond to whatever happened. And so I think the diversity of the job is fantastic. And some of the things we've been able to accomplish as a community make me exceptionally proud and make me, enjoy and look forward to coming to work every day.
I personally have been living in Rochester Hills for about 22 years. I kind of grew up in the city, went to high school there, middle school there, and it's a great place to live. And I love to. It's been a blessing to see it blossom, kind of over the last couple of decades. And I grew up there. Now I got kids, and we're raising my kids in the city. And it's a good feeling knowing that it was the 2015 safest city. They received the Safest City in Michigan award. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. And you mentioned your kids. We have one of the top 10 school districts in the state. We have, if you're a property owner, I know your home and your business are in the city of Rochester. Property values are going up extremely fast. Number 39 again in the nation.
Wow.
And really number 2 in all of the Midwest. So the investment that you made in the community was a good one.
Right.
I know you know that, but like I said, the city just on all measures is really outperforming our peers and is really proving to be an exceptional place to live, work, and raise your family.
So school systems play a big part in raising the value of the homes. People finding jobs also obviously it raises the value of the community and the value of the homes. And I believe we have, is it the second lowest unemployment rate in the state?
Right, and we've worked hard to achieve that. We have an economic development team that I spend a lot of time with at the city of Rochester Hills, and their job is to go out and find companies that are a good fit with our community. An interesting fact about the city of Rochester Hills, more robots are made in our city than any other city in North America. Rochester Hills is the robotic capital of our continent. So it tells you a little bit about the kind of companies that we're looking to bring here and the kind of residents we have, potential employers for those companies. So I travel around the world, around the country, and our teams do to try to find companies that would be a good fit for Rochester Hills to bring those folks back. Because they provide jobs, they provide the services, and they, as you said, they increase the value of our homes.
Now, I know that there's something really cool as you were the 2015 Mayor of the Year.
Yes, I was.
How cool is that?
Well, that was, I think, I find it pretty cool. My grandma finds it exceptionally cool. It's almost embarrassing.
Your biggest fan?
But no, it was a nice honor. I mean, when you're recognized by your peers for doing something well and for being at least in this current year among the best, it's a great honor.
Congratulations.
And I share that with my team. I mean,
For
a
sure.
mayor or a CEO gets and deserves some credit, but
Right.
largely it's the people who are actually doing the day-to-day stuff, the folks
That's
that
absolutely right.
get everything done. They deserve the credit, and if not for their outstanding work, the employees of the city of Rochester Hills, none of these things that we've talked about so far would ever have materialized.
Totally agree. He's handsome and humble, folks. Now you travel all over the place, and I know that the city's been recognized in these waste management program as well was kind of what led to some of this, right?
Yeah, it was. It was. It's not the sexiest thing in government talking about trash
The
pickup.
trash man, ladies and gentlemen.
But we had a system that everyone was responsible for their own trash. So you had it out on Monday, your neighbor had it out on Tuesday, the guy down the street had it out on Thursday.
Right.
And we put everything together in 2009 for a comprehensive plan. And the unique thing that we did was we incentivized recycling. And we were the first community to do that in the Midwest, between New Jersey and New Mexico. No one was doing it. And so when you recycle, you get points, and those points you can redeem for movie tickets, gift cards at Home Depot or restaurants
Right
or
there in
whatever.
the city?
Yeah, most of them in the city. So for doing something that you're going to do anyway, throwing out your trash, now that money gets poured back into the community. And we went from being a community that only 15% of our people recycled to now we have between 80 and 85% of our people recycling. We're the #1 recycling community in Michigan.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Congratulations. We're talking trash with Mayor Brian Barnett of Rochester Hills. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to The Breakdown. Again, our guest, Mayor Brian K. Barnett from Rochester Hills. And we were just talking trash about, kind of really going through some of the awesome things that the city has done and the city's accomplished. Now, you recently, had a little run-in with Madonna, if you will, right?
Yes.
She's from the city.
She is, yeah.
Right, and she's your biggest fan, or?
Well, we're working through it.
Right.
We're working through it. Yeah. So she was on the Howard Stern show.
Okay.
And she said some remarks in advance of her Rebel Heart tour that she didn't like where she grew up, that the people were simple and provincial, and I heard those, and I took them the wrong way. Obviously, I consider myself a strong proponent and hopefully the city's biggest cheerleader. So I went home at night, penned a little letter at my computer, and sent her an open letter. And I sent it to our 2 little local newspapers, and I thought that'd be the end of it. And of course, as you know, for the next
Spiraled
week,
out of control.
it went viral.
Saw you on CNN.
We did CNN, Fox, Howard Stern, Wendy Williams, E! Entertainment, just about every news program. We ended up on 6 continents. We ended up in 55 countries.
Wow.
And if you Google our 2 names together, you get something like 150,000 hits now, whereas 4 months ago you would have gotten 0.
Right.
But the point was not that we would ever change Madonna's mind, and we honor her. She's in our community hall of fame. She's there. But we wanted other people who are going to be introduced to our city, not to know her perspective, but what we feel as a community.
Sure. But you changed your mind.
Well, we did. We did. She came out just before she came in concert here locally last month. She said that she was misunderstood, that she appreciated her upbringing, and I just simply went to Twitter and put #progress.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. So she didn't come visit you at City Hall?
She did not.
No. Okay. Did you go to the concert?
I did not. I did not. But listen. If she calls me to have lunch, I'll be available.
Yeah, wonderful, good. All right, good. So lots of cool stuff you guys have done, and I want to talk a little bit about our viewer base, and our viewer base is the Middle Eastern community, which is a very tightly knit community, great community. We believe in our history and our culture. And have you been to the Middle East before, right?
I have. I was there a few years ago on a delegation from behalf of the U.S. Embassy and the Saudi royal family. We went to Saudi Arabia with 7 other U.S. mayors.
Wow.
And we spent time in 3 different places in Saudi and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and had a wonderful experience. It was my first experience in the Middle East. We were there and got to meet all sorts of members of the royal family. Toured 3 of their major cities, and got to meet and understand a little bit more about the culture and the people. The purpose of the trip, I think, was to find more ways for the 2 countries to do business together.
Sure.
I believe I was picked because, being the only mayor from Michigan, was largely because the kingdom was interested in doing more related to auto industry. They wanted to do more in auto sales and auto trade and things of that nature. And so I sort of represented, I think, that aspect of the mission. But what an outstanding experience to get to meet some incredibly passionate people and to learn more about the culture and the community. And I understand clearly why family is so important. The entrepreneurial spirit that so many folks have. I see where that comes from and how such pride. It was really a wonderful time.
Beautiful, beautiful. And speaking of family, you have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful boys, and I can clearly see from our friendship, I know what kind of a dad you are and what kind of husband you are. How important is it for you to make that time for the family with running through these hoops, if you will, of running as a write-in, and we're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, well, you know, being a mayor is a very challenging job. There are lots of great aspects that people think, wow, it must be fantastic all the time. It's a great job. I really, truly love it. But there are certainly some sacrifices you make because there isn't a time that our family isn't out together at a restaurant or grocery shopping where people don't come up and say, hey, Mr. Mayor, I don't mean to bother you, but you know, when is this road going to get completed, or what's coming in at this? I heard that this restaurant was coming, you know, and you always want to be respectful and respond, or people want to take a picture or you know, have you do something with them. And my family understands that. They're great about it, but we try to carve out special times. My kids probably get to stay up later than most because my work schedule has me out at a lot of events, and so they get to stay up, so I get to spend time with them. And they come to a lot of cool events. They've met the president, they've met the governor, they've gotten to do some things that maybe some other kids haven't, because we try to make sure we bring them through the whole process.
So the whole family goes with you through this this progress, you know? And I bet the boys aren't too upset about having to go to bed later.
No, I think they kind of, it probably, you know, skew. There's probably some other parents in the class like, what, the Barnetts let them stay up how late? But you know, it's just the way we run our lives, and you know, my kids are they're pretty cool. One of my sons, if you asked him, he would say I'm a conservative Republican, and the other one would say I'm a liberal Democrat. They just like to argue and fight, and we have a good time with it, and maybe that makes us a little bit different.
Beautiful. So, you got an election coming up. You're running as a write-in. Tell me why.
Well, in the city of Rochester Hills, every city is governed by their charter, so every city has kind of unique election rules associated with it. And in Rochester Hills, perhaps one of the most unique, a mayor or a council member can serve 2 consecutive terms. They can serve a 3rd term, but the only way they can do that is if they run as a write-in. So we don't have traditional term limits. And hopefully, when we're successful on November 3rd, I would then be back on the ballot for 2 terms. So for this particular term, because I've served for 2 consecutive terms, I have to run as a write-in candidate, which means when a Rochester Hills resident goes to vote, they'll see 2 names on the ballot. They won't be mine. Underneath will be a blank line and a blank circle. And a resident will have to do 2 things, fill in the circle and write in my name. It's similar to the way Mayor Duggan was elected in Detroit.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to play a short video for you on how to write in Mayor Brian Barnett in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Brian Barnett. And now that absentee ballots are out on the street, we've been getting lots of questions about how you actually fill out an absentee ballot to have your vote count for me. So we thought we'd make a quick video to show you just how simple it is. On your absentee ballot, locate the section that says Mayor, vote for no more than 1. Underneath the Mayor heading, you'll see 2 names. Underneath those 2 names, you'll see a blank line and a blank circle. Fill in my name, BRYANBARNETT, in the blank line, and fill in that circle. 2 easy steps. Write it in, fill it in to make your vote count for Brian Barnett and to keep these great things going in Rochester Hills. And thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to The Breakdown. We're here with Mayor of Rochester Hills, Brian Barnett, and we were just talking about some of the cool things the city's done, some of the cool things that you've been able to take the city through, and we really, you know, as a resident of the city, it's been awesome to see you there. I personally would love to see you stay as the mayor, but I think it's important today that we get an opportunity to share with the rest of the community why you feel that you should be, what you've accomplished exactly over the last 8 years, and what makes you an awesome mayor, and you got to convince these guys to vote for you, and why.
It's a great question. Why do you deserve to be returned to office? And you can talk about a lot of things, but when you are currently elected, you just essentially point to your record. And some of the things we started talking about on the breakdown earlier, about the fact that we're one of the top 10 places to live in America. We're the safest city in Michigan. We have the 2nd lowest unemployment rate in the state. We have the second fastest rising property values in the state. A community would be happy to win any single one of those awards, but in Rochester Hills we've been awarded all of those awards. And so I think in large measure we're performing. Government is performing, and I think when you talk to people on the street, when you meet people, I think they're very proud to be from Rochester Hills. And so we're talking about keeping that good thing going. And that's why I'm asking for residents of Rochester Hills to do something a little bit extra when they go to vote on November 3rd, to do 2 things: to fill in the circle under Mayor of Rochester Hills and to write in my name. And I'd be so appreciative, and hopefully be back to serve another 4 years in our great community.
Mayor Barnett, it's been a privilege to have you on the show. You did an awesome job as mayor for the last 8 years. Me growing up there, watching the city bloom. I really think that there's no better man for the job. Good luck in your campaign, sir. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back next time on The Breakdown. I'm Ziad Kassab, your host. Have a great night.